Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Today I'm going to be tier ranking every single book that I have read this year. I have read over 200 books in 2022 and I'm going to tier rank them all for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this massive tier ranking or else we are gonna be here forever. Before we start ranking, let me go ahead and go through my categories on the side here. Obviously at the top we have all-time faves. These are books that I read in 2022 that quickly made their way into my all-time favorites list. Below that we have highly recommend. These are good books, even great books that I would highly recommend in this category, but not all-time favorites. Below that we have the meh forgettable category. These are going to be books that I either think are completely forgettable, maybe it was a fun time in the moment, but I'm not going to remember it next year, or they were just okay. Below that we have not great. Not great books are just that, not great. Below even the meh category. And at the bottom we have Kill It With Fire, the worst of the worst of the worst books that I would not recommend to anyone. Let's go ahead and get started. The first book we have here is We Need to Do Something by Max Booth. This is an all-time favorite for me. It's an apocalyptic horror. I'm also not going to be giving synopses because we would literally be here for hours and hours. So moving right along. We Are All the Same in the Dark. I would say highly recommend because I really like that, but am I gonna remember the plot? I do right now because I just read it this month, but no, you know what? I'll keep it in highly recommend. It is really well written for a thriller. My Killer Vacation, not great. Sorry, Tessa. That's the only Tessa Bailey romance I've really not enjoyed. All Good People Here is meh. To me, it was a little gross. There were some things I did not like about it. I Thought It Was Just Me. This is a nonfiction by Brene Brown. Highly recommend that one. It's like self-help vibes, but from an actual psychologist, so it's self-help you can trust. Credence by Penelope Douglas, y'all know. Kill It With Fire. Hate it. The Shuddering, not great. Really boring. Really unlikable characters. The Slob was meh. It's a great extreme horror, but it did have some elements that left me feeling meh. It could have been a 5-star and it really shot itself in the foot. Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk, kind of the same thing. Dear Laura, highly, highly recommend. Short little horror novella. The Lucky Ones by Kirsten Modglin. This is the book that really put me off of her. I'll say Kill It With Fire. I rated that one 1 star. Ooh, They Were Here Before Us. This is a new all-time favorite horror anthology. It's really teensy tiny, but it's beautiful in its appearance and in the insides. It is written so gorgeously. Roll of the Dice by Matt Shaw. This is easily the worst book I've read this year. Yeah, Kill It With Fire. So bad. Just Like Mother, highly recommend, even for a girl who doesn't like cults. Pretty impressive to me that I like that one that much. The Club is not great. Really disappointing. Stillhouse Lake, though. I highly, highly recommend that one. I loved that. Gave major Pretty Girls vibes. Lovesick by John Athan. Also highly recommend that one if you're into extreme horror. Wrath in the Dawn was a YA fantasy that I actually do highly, highly recommend, even for non-fantasy readers. It's really beautiful. This is Summer I Turned Pretty. It's the first book in the series, so I'm going to put it in meh. I like the TV show better. Stolen Tongues is a new favorite. It was so good, so atmospheric. I'm obsessed. Family of Liars, the prequel to We Were Liars, also a new all-time favorite for me. It's so nostalgic, and that book just means so much to me. Pretty Girls was a reread. Obviously, that's my all-time favorite book ever. For the Sake of Two is one that I highly recommend for extreme horror readers. I will also go ahead and put the first book in the duology there too. The Winter People is the book that I literally just finished before starting to film this, and it's very forgettable. I will say, did not love it. No, that's probably controversial, but what's not controversial is putting the It Girl right there next to it. The It Girl, I feel like everyone has agreed, is very meh. Sick Fucks, not great. There are so many better written dark romances out there, even within that like serial killer romance trope. Gone to See the Riverman though, another serial killer book. That one's an all-time fave. Cinder, not great as well. I think I'm not the audience for it, but either way, I did not like it. Perfect Little World, I highly recommend. It made me cry. Last to Vanish by Megan Miranda, not great. Super, super, super boring. Under the Mistletoe by Jenny Bayliss, Kill It With Fire. So, so bad. I don't know how I got through that book without DNFing it. It's all thanks to the audio being on in the background while I was baking, because if I didn't have that, hell no. Dirty Heads, I love. If you're into queer horror, you will love that one as well. Love Hypothesis is a new favorite of all time romance, right up there with The Hating Game for me. We Can Never Leave This Place, I highly recommend. Another Eric LaRocca. Notes on an Execution, I also highly recommend. I think it's great. Not a favorite though. Very disappointed in that. One Bloody Thing After Another though. That's a new all-time favorite. Again, for the queer horror lovers. The Groomer by John Athan. Highly recommend if you're into extreme horror. Please take that caveat seriously. Runtime by Catherine Howard was not great. It was not great. It was very confused. Pieces of Her, forgettable. Sorry, Karen. Son of the Slob, Kill It With Fire. Y'all know my beef with this one. And if you don't, you can watch the copious rants that I've made about this book. It's really horrible and I hate it. And guess what? I get to have that opinion. The Family Remains by Lisa Jewell, I do highly recommend. I even think it is worth reading The Family Upstairs, which I did not like, just to get to this book because it's that good. There Are No Saints, another favorite of all time romance. So Happy For You, not great. This book is really not great. Okay, I just don't think it was thought through well. It's very similar to Runtime and The Club in the fact that it was just very, very confused. Cirque Berserk, fun little horror slasher novella. Highly recommend it. Weight of Blood is an all-time favorite. I love Carrie. I have such a soft spot in my heart for Carrie. It's one of my favorite horror books and one of the first horror books I ever read. So an improvement on Carrie, of course it's going to be an all-time fave. Untamed is forgettable for me. It was fine in the moment, but it was nothing groundbreaking for me, at least. Hook, Line, and Sinker, I highly recommend. Love Tessa Bailey for the most part. Let's ignore that. Fierce Kingdom, highly recommend. I love that one. Super fast pace. One of the Girls, great summer atmosphere with a twisty thriller plot. Things Have Gone Worse Since We Last Spoke. I love this book. Don't know if it's an all-time favorite. Would have loved it to be longer. I highly recommend it though. Pen Pal, this is an all-time fave. So, so good. Pen Pal is crazy. It will rip your heart out. I'm Glad My Mom Died is also going to be an all-time fave. So, so beautifully written. I would love to read more from Jeanette McCurdy. Maybe fiction even. I just think she's a wonderful writer. Welcome to Smiley Land was meh. There were things that I liked about it, things that I really didn't. Tender as the Flesh, I highly recommend. Wow, this category is getting big. Things We Do in the Dark, I highly recommend. It was fun. The Violence is meh. It was way too long, but I did love what it had to say. The Girl Next Door, it is really great. It is well written, but I don't know if I would necessarily say I highly recommend it. I would recommend this for a very niche audience, so just know that. Ladder to the Sky. I was thinking about this book the other day and I realized that I only remembered half of the plot, so I'm gonna put it in forgettable. Neverworld Wake is also just kind of a meh book. The other Summer I Turned Pretty books are not great. I think it's fine as a standalone. You do not need to continue the series. Go Down Hard. This was so fun. Another serial killer novella. Highly recommend it. Temper was so fun. Highly recommend it. You'll Be the Death of Me. Not great. Don't love it. Crying in H Mart. We're going to put it here, but we're moving her up to my all-time favorites. Love, love that book. Wow. 2 favorite memoirs I've probably ever read, right there next to each other. Comfort Me with Apples. This one people will either love or hate, but for me, I do highly recommend it. Get up there, girl. Audition, kill it. Hate it. Horrible. Mother Next Door, so freaking fun. Highly recommend that one. All I Want, kill it. Horrible. Worst twist I've ever read in my life. True Crime Story was meh for me. It just felt like another fucking podcast thriller. I put Painted All Red in here to represent the entire Mindfuck series because we're moving that right up here to my favorites of all time. Some of the most fun books I've ever read in my life. Wrong Place, Wrong Time, easy 5-star, highly recommend. Escape Room was meh. Butter was, it was fine. It was better than fine for me, but I don't think it has mass appeal, so I'm going to put it in meh. The Fear, not great. Horrible, actually. Near the Bone, highly, highly recommend that one. Love it. Best of Friends by Lucinda Berry. It's a great book if you're looking for a domestic thriller, but I think it is forgettable. It's one of those thrillers that you're going to have so much fun with in the moment and not remember next month. Last Final Girl for me was not great. Razorblade Tears, though, don't worry, we're moving her all the way up to all-time favorites. So good. The Neighbors was great. I recommend it. Broken Girls was not great. Every Summer After, we are moving her all the way up to all-time favorites. I'm obsessed with that book. Perfect summer romance. 3 Hours was very, very heavy. It was beautifully written, but I'm not gonna lie, it was a hard read. It was not an easy read, and for that reason, I'm gonna put it in the meh, could go either way. Stalking Jack the Ripper was fun. There were some pieces that didn't connect. I don't know if I'd highly recommend it for my audience, so that one's gonna go in meh as well. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, kill it, hate it, do not understand the hype. I've tried. I don't. He Started It, not great. Really disappointing for me, actually. Perfect Child, though, that one I highly recommend. I loved The Perfect Child. Insomnia, felt the same way, highly recommend it. Neon Gods, highly, highly recommend. Wow, those are like some of my love, love, love favorites all in a row. The Night Stalkers, kill it, so bad, so gross. Not because of the gore, because I actually wanted more gore. Gross because of the men that wrote it. You can just hear the way that they think about women in the way that they wrote their female characters. Disgusting. True Crime, I highly recommend. That one was haunting and it lives in my mind to this day still. So great. Dark though, so be careful. Lucky Girl, same thing, highly recommend. I just read this one. It's a little wintry, Christmassy, Krampusy novella that is super twisty at the end. Normal People, highly recommend. Beautiful. American Kingpin, highly recommend. Really great. Stay Awake was forgettable for me. Mr. Perfect, not great at all. Good Rich People, highly recommend. Do I want to move it up here? You know what? No, I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to keep it there. Where the Truth Lies, for me, was not great. What is this one? The Goal. Is this The Goal? I know it's in the Off-Campus series. I'm going to put it in forgettable because I literally can't remember what it's about. The Lion Club, though, highly, highly recommend. I loved The Lion Club. I actually forgot how much I really loved that one. Living Dead Girl, also highly, highly recommend. To Be Devoured, highly recommend, another queer horror. I'll Be You, very, very, very forgettable. House Across the Lake, don't worry, it's not staying down there. I know, some of y'all want it to stay down there. It's not going to. I highly recommend it. I know, I'm weird. Okay, I love it. Pretty Things, though, very forgettable book. The Score? Is this the one with Dean? Why can I not remember which one has Dean? Hold on. Yeah, I think The Score is Dean. Okay, Dean's book I do highly recommend. So we're going to move it up. That is the only book in the off-campus series that I was a simp for. Kilman Creek was forgettable, not as good as the first Stillhouse Lake. For better and worse, though, we're moving her up to highly recommend. Love that book. So fast-paced. If you're looking for a slump buster, that's the one. The Golden Couple was meh. The Mistake, not great at all. Horrible, actually. Stranger in the Mirror, surprisingly, I highly recommend this one. It's very underrated in my opinion. It's a good twisty thriller. The Test, I'm also going to say highly recommend. Love that one. Oh, Clown in a Cornfield 2. So disappointing that it was not great for me. Cirque. No, this is not Cirque Berserk. This is Cotton Candy Massacre. Highly recommend. Love that one. The Troop. I also highly recommend if you can handle that in your stomach. Song of Achilles. Highly recommend. Love that one. One Italian Summer. We know we got to move that all the way up to my all-time favorites, obviously. Other People's Clothes was meh. It was okay. Things I liked, things I didn't like. Hostage, though, I highly recommend. Gosh, this is getting hard to maneuver. Oh my gosh, look at how many books we already have on here. This is crazy. All right, Cheat Day, though. You know where we're putting this. Kill It. Summer Darlings was meh. Kin. Just nothing compared to Brother. For me, it's meh compared to Brother. Sorority Murder, not great, really boring. As Good as Dead, ruined the trilogy in my opinion. Tell Me the Truth, not great, really boring. I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney was okay. It is forgettable. Wow, we have some duds all in a row. But then we have There Is No Devil, the other book in the There Are No Saints duology. And I'm going to put it right up there by its friend. There. Horrible covers. I'm glad they got new ones. Yes, Daddy. I'm moving up to highly recommend. I love this book. It is so underrated. Nothing But Blackened Teeth. Not great. Murders of Molly Southbourne. Highly recommend. Y'all know I talk about this book all the time. The Collective. I also highly recommend that. Oh my gosh. Come on. Move on up. Move on up, girl. Clown Hunt was great. Highly recommend that if you are an extreme slasher lover. Night Shift was meh. Forgettable because I forgot all of it already. Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance, I highly, highly recommend. If you like character-driven stories, like Blood Sugar, you're going to love that one. Conversations, not great for me. The Baby Shower by S.E. Lines, highly recommend. Another criminally underrated thriller. Familiar Stranger, kill it. Horrible. Sour Candy, we're moving up to highly recommend. It's a fun little speculative horror novella. Just Like Home was meh. There were things I liked, things I didn't. X-Hex was also meh for me. Mary Shelley Club, we're moving up to... Gosh, this might be an all-time favorite. I think I'm going to move it up to my all-time favorites. I haven't read a YA book before this one that really resonated with me like that one, and it was fun at the same time. Paris Apartment, forgettable. Tears of Tess, not great. One of Us by Geneva Rose was so fun. One of Us is Dead. Oh, I highly recommend it. If you love rich people drama, you're going to be obsessed. Wow, we still have a good chunk left. The other Molly Southbournes, I would say, are meh. You can skip them, but the first one's great. Something akin to Revulsion. Half of the stories I loved, half I didn't. We're going to put it in meh. Below, I'm moving all the way up to all-time favorites. I cannot wait to read more from Laurel Hightower after reading Below. It's burned in my brain. I love it. Tastes Like Candy, I recommend. I think it was a fun little slasher, so we're moving it up there. The Appeal, I also highly recommend this one. It surprised me how much I enjoyed that one. The Last Housewife, okay, get ready for the journey. We know where this is going. We know where this is going. All the way up to the top, starting a new row in my all-time favorites. This Might Hurt, oh God, not great for me. Roughest Draft, this is another all-time favorite romance. Taking the journey up to the top. Let's go. There she is. Ooh, The Dare by Harley LaRue. I forgot that I read this one this year. I love this book. It is super, super smutty. It's just straight smut, and I highly recommend it. Black Phone was great. It was great. I do highly recommend these horror stories. It was one of the better horror anthologies that I've read. Rotter House to me was meh. Honest Lie, not great. Secret Santa was meh. I think I'm going to forget the plot next Christmas for sure. You've Lost a Lot of Blood. I love this one. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I would highly recommend it. Night She Went Missing was, I will put that one in meh. It was fine. It was forgettable. We Were Never Here. Moving that one up to highly recommend. I love that book. Super summery vacation thriller. Six Stories was not great for me. Really, really slow. No One Writes for Free. This one's crazy. I will put it in the meh category because I'm not going to widely recommend it. But if you like extreme psychological horror, it's great. Crossroads for me was a one that I would highly recommend. It is really heavy, but beautiful, beautiful writing. The Legacy, kill it. We did not need that one. The Island, I would highly recommend. It's fast-paced. Loved it. Electric Idol to me was not great. A Touch of Jen was also not great. Reminders of Him, I think this is the one Colleen Hoover I read this year. It was a newer release and I actually do highly recommend it, surprisingly. The Ruins, let's move this one all the way. Get on the train because we're moving it up all the way up to the very top. Let's go, Ruins. Loved The Ruins. It made such an impact on me. Girl Forgotten, not great at all. Horrible, actually. Womb. Ugh, this one's so hard because I do like the story and the writing. It just was those problematic elements that really made it hard for me to rate it high. Gotta put it in not great because of that. The Plot, though, we're moving up to highly recommend. Love the plot. Oh, what is this one called? Halloween something or other? Dark Harvest. It's fine. It's a fun little holiday moment, but it's meh. You know, if it's not Halloween time, you don't need to read it. The Amendment. Did we need this sequel? No, not great. Daisy Darker, to me, this is controversial, but I'm going to put Daisy Darker in the meh category. Sorry. Did not have the same impact on me. When You Disappeared, horrible. 1 star. Kill it. Halloween Slaughter, we are moving up to highly recommend. Love a good slasher. Had to remove this post. To me, was meh. I know a lot of people would put this one in not great. To me, it was meh. Okay, I liked some of it. Summer I Died, to me, was also meh. It was forgettable because I had built up all of this gore in my head that I thought I was going to get, and a lot of it was off page. Silent Night, though, I highly recommend. I had so much fun reading this one, returning to Fear Street. Hadn't been there since I was a kid, and I want to go back soon. Wicked Beauty, I loved this one. Threesome, smutty romance that I highly, highly recommend. The Deal was meh, okay? That one started off the off-campus series, and it was all right. My Patient's Gonna Be the Next School Shooter, very forgettable. I read this one because I was interested, and I can't say that I have had a strong desire to continue the series. Saving Noah, we got to move this one all the way up to the top. It's phenomenal. Love, love, love Saving Noah. Highly, highly recommend it. Actually, you know what? This might be a favorite of all time. Let's put it up there. Love Saving Noah. Reckless Girls, not great for me. Blood Sugar, here we are, my favorite book of the year. Easily my favorite book of the year. We're taking the journey to move her all the way up to the top. Oh my gosh, here she is in her rightful place. And right next to the Last Housewife. Those two, similar color palette on the cover, and my two favorite books of the year. History of Wild Places, I highly recommend. It was gorgeous, gorgeous writing. Suburban Hell was so much fun. I'm going to put that in highly recommend as well. It got me out of a slump. Night of the Prowler, I also highly recommend. Another extreme slasher that I absolutely loved. When She Returned, not great. Probably my least favorite Lucinda Berry. I'm Not Your Final Girl was meh. There were some that I enjoyed, some that I didn't. A lot were forgettable. Exquisite Corpse for me was not great. So sorry. So sorry. For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing, I will put up in highly recommend, especially if you like unlikable serial killer POV. Survival of Molly, where did I put that other one? I think I put it in meh. Yeah, you don't need to read these next two books in the series, but they're fine. Punk 57, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I will put it in highly recommend. The Replacement Wife, same thing. That one was a surprise as well. I really, really liked it and haven't heard much about it. Underrated, for sure. Love on the Brain to me was meh. It was a little bit of a copy-paste of Love Hypothesis. And the last one here is Hidden Pictures, which I also think is meh. It was a fun time. I definitely enjoyed my time reading it, but not something you need to run out and read immediately. So let's go over the categories before we close it out. The Kill It With Fire category, I don't think is surprising in the slightest. These are all pretty much my least favorite books of the year. Not great. There might be some controversial ones in here, but for the most part, it's just like really boring, unlikable stories. The meh forgettable category, these are ones where if you're going back and forth, if you need to buy it or get it from the library, I would say get it from the library. This huge category right here, I'm going to put right on the screen right there in the middle. Screenshot that. If you are looking for recs right now from me, my favorite books, okay, you know, this is my opinion. So if our tastes don't align, maybe don't take it. But if our tastes align, screenshot this right now, read every single one. I hope you love them all. And my top category right here, my all-time favorites, these are just the best books of the year for me. And I will go super in depth with synopsis and all of that in my best books of 2022 video, which is coming soon. So that is going to be it for tier ranking all of the 200 plus books that I read in 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed and got some quick spitfire recommendations from me. This was just a general overview of my reading year, and the next couple of videos that are going to be out for you guys are my best and worst of 2022. We're going to be dragging and raving, so tune in for that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you will get the notification ring that little bell so you do in fact get it, and like this video if you liked it. Don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week, and I will see you guys in my next one.